Thank you, Corey. I really, really, really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. You know, we did a run through, and some of the things that you said were just absolutely amazing to me. You know, it's the things that I didn't think about. You know, and I hear that a lot being a coach. Like, I didn't think about it like that. I didn't think about it like that. So you just offered a whole lot of clarity, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so you guys, that's Mr. Corey Brown with the mind, right? So as Mandela said, this call is about the mind, the emotion, and the manifestation. And I'm going to be talking about the emotion, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. So you guys heard Corey say there's two ways to shift the paradigm, right? One is through repetition, and one is through immediate reaction, okay? So using the second point first, one thing that is very important for you guys to remember is you get to choose how you feel, right? I know sometimes you don't think that you can because life happens so fast, but I'm here to tell you that it's true. You get to choose. So just think about it. You're driving to work at 7:30 in the morning. You get that phone call. The phone call is not that pleasant. And after the phone call, you realize that you're feeling borderline angry. Well, you can say, you know what, it's too early. I'm going to dock this. Well, I'm going to dock this. I'm going to put this somewhere, and I'm going to come back to it later when I have time to process it, right? And I can guarantee you, when you get back to it, which will probably be about 8 hours later, it won't even mean as much, right? So we do have the power to choose our thoughts, right? So when you find yourself looking at something that you don't like, or when you find yourself in a space different than you think you want to be, what I'm encouraging everybody to do is to learn to press pause, right? Press pause and allow the space to choose. Again, this life thing happens so fast, right? And we're becoming our feelings, we're becoming our emotions. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to learn how to just press pause and then allow the space to choose, right? So with that being said, I'm saying that it's okay to slow down a bit, right? Now, I know we all know that life is going to happen anyway. Life is happening anyway. So it's okay that we slow down a bit, right? I want to go as far as saying nothing's that serious, right? Nothing's that serious. That's what I want to say, but I know that may be a little confusing to some, you know, coming from a life coach. So I'm going to say it this way. Nothing's that serious, right? Same way. So it is what it is, right? And I really want you guys to hear this. Sometimes we have to mess it up a little bit in order to get it right, right? Sometimes we have to mess it up in order to get it right. Because how else would we know what right is if we don't mess it up a little bit? So I'm saying, too, that that's okay. It's part of the process, right? So like Corey said, too, like everything else, we have to practice it until it becomes a habit, until it just becomes part of what we do, right? Hashtag repetition, right? One of the points that he mentioned, we have to just practice it until we get it right, right? So the one emotion that I want to focus on tonight, and the one that I encourage you all to reach for moving forward, no matter the circumstances, hear that, no matter the situation, no matter the circumstances, is satisfaction. Okay, so the emotion that I want you to reach for going forward is satisfaction. If you could get satisfied, I could promise you that you will start to see a different set of manifested scenarios. Like Corey just said, too, the feeling is in there, and that's what we're having a conversation about right now. So if you could get satisfied, at the least, I can promise you that you'll start to see a different set of manifested scenarios. The law says that which is like unto itself is drawn, which ultimately means whatever I focus on, I get more of. You guys hear me say that all the time, and I don't know that I will stop saying it, right? So the question becomes, is there at least one thing in your life that you're satisfied with? I want to take about 30 seconds. I want to take about 30 seconds to let everybody think about at least 3 things that they're satisfied with. Now, and if you're taking notes, I want you to write those down. So take about 30 seconds and just think about 3 things that you're satisfied with. This is why I don't do that. Okay. So now what I want you to do is think, and here's the question. I really want you to think about that one thing that you have not been satisfied with for a while. Please don't write it down. I just want you to think about it. And take about 10 seconds to think about that one thing that you haven't been satisfied in a while. Right? I don't want you to write it down because, again, that adds power to it. But what I do want you to do is to be aware in the shift of how you're feeling. Right? When I think about these three things that I'm satisfied with versus this one thing that I'm not satisfied with, you can feel the shift in how you feel. Right? The shift in emotions, you can feel that. So that's really what I want you guys to start paying more attention to. Right? So now the question becomes, here's the question, which one do you normally give more airtime to? So do you normally give more airtime to the 3 or to the 1? Right, and I think I know the answer, right? It's always that 1. It's always that 1, right? And I'm saying stop doing that, right? Right? You guys probably say, well, how do we stop doing that? And I say, well, I don't know. Marcus probably will tell you, right? Just joking around a little bit, but we have to focus on the 3, not the 1. Because I can guarantee you that if you start to focus on the 3, you can just watch what happens. I guarantee you that the other one, that one thing will start to shift in your favor. So focus on the 3 and the other things will shift. Let me go here. I'm satisfied with being on this call right now. Right? I'm satisfied with being able to dial the number myself without help. I'm satisfied with the option to use headphones, speakerphone, or neither. Right? I'm satisfied with the chair that I'm sitting in. It allows me to turn this way, turn back this way, turn back this way. Right? I'm satisfied with the mat under the chair that allows my chair to roll. Right? So even without knowing the name of the mat, I'm satisfied with it. Right? It's so satisfying to have Coy and Marcus on this call. It's so satisfying to know that I didn't have to do this call by myself. Right? It's so satisfying to have Mondale on this call. Right? It's so satisfying to know that right after this call, my phone is going to ring and it's going to be a voice asking, so how did you feel about that? Right? And no matter how the conversation goes, it's so satisfying to know that I have somebody in my corner like that. Right? It's so satisfying to know that all of you are present, although I can't hear you. So you see, you should start to feel different. And that's what I'm getting to. You should start to feel different. So what I'm really saying is you guys focus on what's satisfying, not what's not satisfying. Right? So, André, are you saying that the things that we want to happen really bad doesn't have to happen in order for us to feel better? Well, I say you tell me. Right? Do you feel better now? I feel better now. Nothing's changed. Right? Because a lot of times what we do is we think we have to have the thing in order to feel happy, and I'm saying feel happy now and you'll get the thing. And it's so interesting, man. It's so satisfying to know that although the delivery was different, Coy and I are saying the same thing, right? That's so satisfying. He also said that the mind is not the brain. Best statement I've ever heard as it relates to the mind and the brain, right? I have another favorite statement as it relates to people, and it was said by Eckhart Tolle when he said, people only operate from their level of consciousness. Best statement as it relates to people from my perspective, right? So if there's anybody you're upset with because they didn't do something you thought they should, I say don't be, right? Now that we know we could choose our feelings, choose a different feeling. People can only operate from their level of consciousness. He said it's electric switching station. It's a nervous system. It's electrical. He also says everything is energy, is spirit. And I'm saying your emotions are also energy connected to the spirit. It's who you really are. Right? Sometimes you may find yourself too far to the left or too far to the right. And I'm saying that satisfaction will bring you back to the middle if you allow your emotions to guide you. Not become them, but allow them to guide you. Right? What is the negative emotion anyway? Let's talk about that for a second. What's a negative emotion anyway? Well, it's when you feel different than the real you. I'm going to say it a few times, right? It's when you feel different than your spirit does. Your spirit can only love. So when you're feeling something different from love, that causes a negative emotion, and then we give it a name. We call it hate. But the negative emotion comes from when you feel different than you. That's what causes negative emotion. I don't want to stop and talk about that, but I know we can't, right? But just think about that's what negative emotion comes from. When you're feeling different than what, like Corey said, whatever you call it, the God in you, the spirit, or whatever. When you're feeling something different than what your spirit is feeling, that's where negative emotion comes from. So let me say this. It's one thing to come back to the middle. However, it's important. Well, let me say it this way. The most important question I can ask right now is how do you stay there? Understand that I'm calling it the middle because that's what I call it when I feel a little off, right? However, what we're really talking about is the present, being present. So the middle, present, same thing, right? With that being said, though, I want you guys to remember this. The present is also in the middle of the past and future. So the middle, that's why I call it the middle, like come back to the middle, right? So with that being said, the key to staying present is to let go of the past and not give the future too much airtime, right? Focus on what's satisfying now. It's so satisfying to know what I know. It's so satisfying to be a part of this call. You can't feel satisfied and not satisfied at the same time. And if you continue to feel satisfied based on the law, what would happen? You would attract more things to be satisfied with. So just to connect the dots, I know they say everything that I said so far. The emotion of satisfaction is the key. If you look at the emotional scale that we talked about a couple conference calls ago, I think the emotional scale calls it contentment. I'm calling it satisfaction. Satisfaction means feels better to me, but satisfaction is the key. The feeling of satisfaction to me is the key, and that's what I want to share with you. And I know that some of you guys may be thinking, well, how do I become satisfied with something that I'm really not satisfied with? Like, how do I do that? And that's a great question, right? Hear this. Some things you can't think your way through. See, the mind versus the brain thing. We think we're using the mind, but we're using the brain, right? Some things you can't think your way through. You have to feel your way through. What does that mean? I'm not satisfied with where I am because I thought I would be somewhere different. Then I say, don't focus on that. Focus on that, right? Don't focus on that. Focus on that. While you may not be where you are, where you may not be, want to be where you are, I have to tell you that you have to be here first, right? You not only have to be here, but I'm encouraging you to be satisfied with being here because you have to be here before you get there. It's almost like I hear people say, well, Andre, I'm waiting on this thing that I've been waiting on for a long time, and it sounds like you're wanting me to be happy while I wait. And I'm saying, why wouldn't you want to be? So, yes, I am saying that. So at the end of the day, until we're able to recondition our minds, subconscious and unconscious, you can't always trust what you think, but you can always trust how you feel.